Jacqui, thanks so much for your time. The Pontiff was quite unwell. He had 5 weeks in hospital. It's not unexpected, but still a shock to many Catholics and Christians right around the world. How do you remember him today?
There's so many things that strike me about Pope Francis's departure. You know, on Easter Monday, such a significant moment for us in the Catholic Church and in the Christian world, that he was so present with us on Easter Sunday, and then this day he returns to God. I had the privilege of meeting with him 4 times, and I was in several addresses with him. And the moment I met him, I felt his warmth and his presence and his kindness and his ability to see the dignity in each person he was meeting around me as well. He has left a huge legacy, and he's really reshaped and reframed Catholic social teaching because of his broad, interconnected vision, a big picture of understanding God's creation. And he communicated this from the moment of his papacy. So one of his key teachings was a document called Laudato Si, which is on care for our common home. And at the heart of this Laudato Si was a call for change. That is to move or go towards a way of being and thinking and living which understands God's way of seeing everything as interconnected and of great value and worth. So Pope Francis drew attention to the evil that comes from being disconnected or seeing ourselves as separate from nature. Things like being acquisitive and greedy, domination, disregard for each other, for creation, war, destruction, and of course poverty. He drew attention to economic inequalities and injustices and the ecological debt between the global north and the global south. So he was always calling and appealing for better care for our common home, and that ecological leadership transcended to lead with faith leaders and political leaders around the world with climate change. And he really and simply made changes to our theology. He started to talk about and write about the gospel of creation, and he spoke about Mary being queen of all creation. So he was really a bridge, which is what a pontiff is, a bridge between worlds, and he was always walking and accompanying those who were most vulnerable, especially First Nations people. He opened a long process of listening and discernment with communities across the Amazon region, known as the Synod on the Amazon, and he continually drew attention to the poor and those suffering. In fact, he was asked by a German film director, Wim Wenders, who interviewed Pope Francis, and he asked him who he considered to be the poorest. And he said, "If you ask me who is the poorest of the poorest of the poor, I would say Mother Earth. We have plundered her, we have abused her." And that's in a documentary entitled Pope Francis, A Man of His Word. So his way of living reflected St. Francis of Assisi, a contemporary way of being Franciscan today, and his way of leading the church and others, faith leaders, was always about inviting us to persevere with processes of deep listening, to discern the deeper truths and to reflect in his Jesuit way how to follow Jesus today. He critiqued a human-centred way of seeing the world and a technological way of trying to solve the problems. He said technology has a part to play, but it is us and our hearts and our way of being and relating that is truly going to solve the problems that we face, the crises we're in. So he had much to offer, and his legacy is amazing. He shone a bright light of ecological leadership and social justice that was inclusive, and he was a pope truly of all things. He contributed as a bridge between many worlds and all of us to commune with our Creator.